Hey everyone, welcome back to Adventures of Andrew and August, the podcast where we talk everything Andrew. If you're new here, go ahead and like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything except for 2 mouse clicks. Mouse buttons are rated for a certain number of clicks, and 20 million clicks is the industry standard, so I'd be honored if you spent 2 of those on me. Anyway, we aren't here to talk about mouse clicks. On today's episode, we are going to discuss jobs. No, not that boring jobs report from a few weeks ago you might have seen in the news. Today, we're going to discuss one of my previous jobs and one of my current jobs. I don't normally like to talk about work with other people just because for me, work has always been a work to live and not live to work kind of thing, with 2 exceptions. Today I'm going to tell you about one of my previous jobs that ended in tragedy and my current side job that I'm passionate about. So back in 2012, the local zoo here was struggling to get visitors and starting to suffer after running through its maintenance budget without bringing enough revenue in. So, as you would expect, they wanted to bring in something unique to help pull in new visitors and members. So after searching around and cutting through some red tape, they brought in Zara. Zara was an 8-year-old Siberian tiger. At the same time, I happened to be graduating from veterinary school with a big focus on big cats. It was like the stars aligned and brought us together. So I got the job as Zara's handler. I would feed her, make sure she was getting enough exercise, and I would just talk to visitors about the importance of big cats within the ecosystem. Things went great for a few years. We developed a strong bond, but then in late 2015, I started to notice Zara was eating less, and she seemed less interested in the toys we would get her, and overall just seemed less social. After some observation, we did some lab blood tests and determined that she had Tarnassus. Tarnassus is a rare muscular disease that affects big cats. Unfortunately, treating it is a bit outside of my skill set and way outside of our care budget. I went to my boss, Andrea, and explained the situation. She immediately said, hey, let's go to Chris, who was the president at the time, and let's bring in Dr. Burr. So we went to Chris's office and explained the situation. His response was quick. We don't have the funds to bring in Dr. Burr. Zara will be fine with a little TLC. So we saw that he wasn't going to sympathize with us, so we tried a monetary approach. We said, ticket sales are starting to drop and members are canceling their memberships because our star isn't healthy. His response was even more disheartening. Well, it's your job. Just get her to eat and run around the pen. So obviously we weren't going to get anywhere with him, and we kind of left his office with our tails between our legs. I'll spare you the depressing details, but for the next few months we did our best to take care of her and tried to make her comfortable. Morale started suffering among the staff. Chris continued to refuse to help. After about 6 months, Zara finally gave up her fight and passed peacefully, curled up with her favorite toy, a little stuffed turtle. So I handled all the paperwork over the next few days, and by the end of the week, I walked into Chris's office and quit. On my way out, I said, "You killed Zara," and I didn't look back to see his reaction, but I hope it made an impact with him. I have not been back to the zoo, but I did hear that Chris was pushed out by investors, and I do hear that the zoo is doing much better now, albeit without their star attraction. Today's show has been brought to you by Garden Wise Industries. Garden Wise brings you top-of-the-line, locally sourced cheeses. They offer gourmet cheese and wine or beer pairings. You can also stop by their food truck for world-class grilled cheese. Garden Wise has also expanded into unique engineering projects. Visit gardenwiseindustries.com and use code AAA for 75% off your first order. So my current side job is a bit of a passion project called Art of the Flame. For the past few years, I've been working on my videography skills and really focusing on fires for Yule logs. I know. Yule logs? You know, every Christmas you hop on Netflix, you're hanging out with your family and friends, and you're looking for something to watch, and boom, there front and center is a 4, 6, 8 hour long Yule log video. Sometimes I'll have a host sitting in a chair just watching it and sipping whiskey, or other times it's just the fire. I've come a long way in my journey. I've learned a lot. I'm currently in talks and gearing up to film a special for Peacock for the 2023 season. There's a lot more that goes into it than just running to your local grocery store and grabbing a bundle of wood, tossing it in the fireplace and lighting it up and hitting go on your camera. A lot of my time goes into sourcing the wood. Aged birch is the best. It's the gold standard. Its color gives it a unique look and has a great crackle. The main issue that people don't realize is it does burn better, it burns cleaner, so it has less dark smoke, but because there's no moisture, you don't get that occasional pop. I've worked around this using birch for its visual burn, but behind the wood I add a few shelled chestnuts. Chestnuts have a sap inside their shells to help the seed from drying out before it can germinate. In a fire, this sap heats up and loudly pops when it reaches 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, this does present its own issues. Visually, you don't want a bunch of stuff flying around your Yule log. So with the help of this week's sponsor, Garden Wise, we designed and built special nut cages. We built a few with varying wall thicknesses so that we could put them in the fire and they would pop at different times. And the cages also help to cut down on the smoke as they heat up and burn. Other visual tricks that I use are pretty standard within the industry. We use a fire-resistant fan and some color powder pellets that help give the flame different colors. I prefer the natural fire colors, but whatever the customer wants. Audio wise, I have contracted my friend John Gardner to play Christmas songs on piano. No one asked John to sing. So if you're hanging around with friends and family next holiday season and decide to stream a Yule log, ask yourself, is this the Art of the Flame? As always, I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the channel and our sponsors. And remember to always make your own adventures.